What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Tunnel Vision. We're back for another one. Hey, this is the reason why PBC is saying F the WBO. That's why they don't give two ish about that belt. That's why they show no respect to that belt. And that's why they don't even see it as a real sanctioning body because of stuff like this. You have, what's his name? Chisora is going to be taking on Usyk for the vacant WBO title. And the question with that is, how the hell is that possible? How exactly is that happening? How is that happening? Usyk, definitely, he's the number one contender. You know what I mean? Then the next person down after that was Parker. And when it came to Parker, he was supposed to, for some reason, he was taking on Chisora for the right to take on Usyk, which makes no sense because Parker should have been taking on the next man down for that opportunity, which would have been against Adam Kalinowski. That's who he should have been taking on and fighting. But for some reason, Parker was taking on Chisora for the right to fight Usyk, the number one contender, for the vacant WBO championship, which is some BS. And Parker, I guess he backed off of his fight when he was supposed to fight Chisora because of whatever the hell was wrong with him. So it's like, okay, that's fine. So since there was an issue with him, the next person in line should have been able to one getting that shot. And that person is Adam Kalinowski. He's the one who should be fighting Alexander Usyk for that vacant belt that's about to go vacant. That's who he should be facing. But for whatever reason, you have Parker, who ironically is, signed to Eddie Hearn, taking on Chisora, who signed to Eddie Hearn. So whoever wins, who cares? They're still signed to Matchroom. And we all know after that, the winner's going to take on who? The winner's going to take on Anthony Joshua later on this year. So yeah, when you hear Anthony Joshua screaming about undisputed, yeah, get away with that BS. He's talking out of his ass. He has zero intentions of fighting Deontay Wilder ever, and that's just a reality situation. He's not trying to get like everybody else, especially recently with Deontay Wilder and his straight punches and how he's putting people out. People aren't even getting up off the first 10 count anymore. So that's a serious problem. He don't want none of those problems. But anyway, this is the reason. This is the same WBO that when Oscar De La Hoya and when Top Rank was suing Al Heyman, the WBO head of WBO actually went and testified against Al Heyman. Tried to testify against Al Heyman and testify against PBC. On the side of Top Rank. That alone should tell you that. Honestly, how can you take that seriously? How can you take that belt seriously? How can you take that sanctioning body seriously? But this is the reason. There's a reason why they call it, what Bob orders. That's number one. And things like this is the reason why they don't even respect that belt anymore. They don't respect it. They don't give it. They don't recognize it as being a sanctioning body anymore. This is the reason. The person that should be fighting Usyk right now for that vacant title is Adam Kalinowski. And a bout between Usyk and Adam Kalinowski ends very badly for Usyk based on what we saw in his last fight. The lack of punching power, he faced a man that literally faced him on 5 days' notice. And the only reason that man got stopped was that he just got so tired that in the corner they just waved the white flag. It's because he was so exhausted because he literally was fighting on 5 days' notice. If he had 2 months notice and had better conditioning, he would have lasted 12. He would have lasted 12 rounds. He was just exhausted out of that. He couldn't even breathe. If it wasn't for that, he would have lasted 12 rounds. So now you take on somebody like an Adam Kalinowski who he can absorb punches. He can catch you with shots. And we've seen even against this guy was catching Usyk. Even he was hitting him with shots. I understand like, oh well, he was undisputed. Yeah, he did all that to cruiserweight. All that means ish when it comes to heavyweight. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And that one bout that he had at heavyweight, he looked like ish. Basuda. That's what he looked like. So I don't know. I don't know. If he had faced Adam Kalinowski, whatever the hell how they spell his name, I just believe Adam Kalinowski would have been sitting there, pushing the pressure forward, kept catching him to the body, catching him to the head, absorbing little BS light punches that this man keeps throwing. He would have kept catching him until he put him to the ground. And Usyk would have been knocked out in that particular fight. But of course, they all know this, and that's why he's facing Chisora. And even about with Chisora, still about that he could lose. Because we all know Chisora does have hands that if he touches you, he could put you down. But now, Matchroom is a perfect situation. No matter who wins, who cares? They're good. They can still have their other big fight in the UK. So I expect Anthony Joshua to fight nowhere except the UK in 2020 and to, quote, lose his belt. And then he can have the grand fight to get his belt back. They took my belt. They forced me to drop my belt, And now I only have 3 belts, and I want to have 4 belts again. So I have to go get my belt. I would love to go for Undisputed against Wilder, but I can't go for Undisputed against Wilder because I only have 3 belts and not all 4 belts, and I must go and get all my belts that I worked so hard for before I can go for Undisputed. And that's going to be the storyline. It is what it is. This is the reason why the PBC and Al Heyman say to the WBO. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.